In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful card and how to use the new JND461 star sprays. We're also going to be using the JND480 ice flower and the JND477 Sam's Holly frame, all new from the 2024 John Next Door Christmas collection. So we're going to start with the star sprays, and these are a sort of explosion of stars, but the actual star that it's based on actually came from the safflower plate, which was launched earlier this year, and is also being used as a centre in the actual ice flower as well. So it's all been tied together so that it works perfectly together, or can be used separately, because these are great for sort of doing fireworks or using for foliage in things that are non-Christmas. So these will cut very simply, so I'm just going to show you cutting these. I'm just going to pop them down on a piece of card, and I'm using a piece of mirror card. These work so beautifully on mirror card, and this has been cut to 5 3/4 by 4 1/8, so I know I get 4 pieces of that size from an A4 piece of card. And I'm simply going to run those through my Kaleido machine. So we'll bring that in just to show you. Quite simple, normal mix of plates. You don't need to use any special plate depending on the card you're using. I'm using Craft Artist card, but if you're using a specially coated card, you may want to cut these down into metal shim to actually give it a proper finish. So we'll take that one off, and we'll see here and check on the reverse, everything's cut. The reason I wanted to cut these on air is because they are relatively delicate in the way they've been designed, so you may need to just take a little bit of time, and rather than just pull them out, you'll want to ease them out of the card. So sometimes they will come out just like this with the die, or sometimes they will sit in the card, but I wanted to show how we actually reveal those out. So you can see here, we've got these just placed into the card. So I'm going to take my poker tool, pull each strip up, and just holding these little bits in. So we take that out. So you can see here, I'm just putting down to pop those out. If I just pull, they're going to break. So I need to ease them out from each little side. So it's just worth spending that little bit of time getting them out correctly. And obviously if they go straight into the die, no problem, there's a release hole and you can just pull them out. But again, release them from the bottom and pull them out. Don't try and do it from the top. And you'll see we get then 4 beautiful, 2 large left and right, and 2 smaller again left and right. So these can work together and actually make you a really nice butterfly. But it's great for arranging your flowers because they're already set. But you'll actually notice on these, and I'm going to bring in a little scrap of paper, that there are little dots on there, and those have been designed so that you can use the pearl dimension to actually add centers or dots on. So you just add those on, dropping them on. Again, when you're using mirror card, you almost want to make your dots that little bit smaller, because they will spread on the mirror card and they may flatten out. Doesn't matter what brand you use, it's all about the card that you're actually using them on. So you could do that for all 4 and pop those to one side to dry, and it's about an hour to touch dry and 24 hours to be completely dry for postage. So I've got 4 here that I've already done. Again, left and right, but adding those dots on really does make a difference, and you can see what I mean about how they've actually spread out because they're on mirror card. So there we have our foliage. So I now want to do our flower, and I've actually already cut our flower down. So you're going to get this beautiful starlight design. I've done this again in a vintage gold satin card, so it offsets against the mirror, and you're going to get 3 large, 3 medium, 3 small, but you're also going to get 2 large centers, and you're going to get 3 smaller centers. And I want to show you with this a different way to put these flowers together. So what I'm going to do is take the larger one, and I'm going to fold it up pinch each petal. It has cut lines in it, so it's very easy to fold. I'm then going to take the next size and I'm going to pinch those down and just pull each petal up. So pinch and pull it up. And I'm going to do the same with the smaller die as well, so that I've got 3 pieces, but they're going in slightly opposite directions. I'm then going to take the smaller piece, so the smaller centre, of which you'll notice there's 3 of, and just shape that slightly so that those can mould nicely together. So I take the larger piece, pop the glue in, take the middle piece, and I tend to use my ball tool for this, but you see straight away how those sides pop up. So it gives you that real, it looks like it's a star. It's a beautiful die. And I'm going to drop that one in. But as you see, as I put the third one in, it really goes very 3D. And then we're just going to take our centre, and we're going to, and again, glue glaze is the best thing to glue these together. We'll pop that in. And you can again add some of the pearl dimension or a stick-on pearl in the centre of there. If you're using the pearl dimension, you will again notice that it will seep out because it's a satin card, but it just fills it up beautifully. So I've made one in that way. What I'm going to do then is do exactly the same with the second one and fold the larger one into 2. I'm going to take the second larger one and I'm going to fold it the opposite direction, and I'm going to glue those 2 together. So I have a triple flower. I then have a double larger flower. I'm going to take the 2 smaller and do the same thing again. So fold the base piece upwards and fold the larger piece down and pop each petal up. And then we're going to glue those 2 together. So this will give us, from this whole plate, 4 separate flowers. One sort of large one with 3 layers, and then one large, one medium, one small with 2 layers each. And they do look as if they're stars. So again, with the third one, pinch it upwards, nice and simply. Take the smaller, take the other one, and pinch the petals down and fold each petal up. So it's down and up. And again, a little bit of glue glaze in the centre. I really would strongly recommend using glue glaze to glue these together. Normal glue will squidge and will take a lot longer to dry. And again, we bring in our base and our ball tool. So I'm going to do 1 large for the largest flower and 2 small, which will leave me with 1 piece left. And we add those with glue glaze into the centre. So the large base goes into the largest flower and the 2 smaller go into the next 2 down. And again, finish off with a little bit of pearl dimension just in the centre. And again, we would set those aside an hour to be touch dry or 24 hours to be completely dry. So I've got some here I've already made up. So here's my 3 petal, and then I have my large, my medium and my small against my foliage. So I want to make a card to work together with those. So we're going to start with that. So I'm going to start with a piece of satin gold card, and I've actually cut this to 7 by 7. And this is so that I can use it in 2 ways. So the first thing that I want to do is to cut the larger die out from the Sam's Holly frame. And I want to cut this as a frame, so I'm going to cut that panel and then the square together. So take a long piece of tape, pick up your center panel, get it in the right place, put it together, run that through and cut that. And that will give you, first of all, this piece of waste, and it will give you the perfect frame. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of card just slightly smaller, so 6 7/8, glue that on and mat that so that I'm not wasting card, and that will then get adhered to my card blank, which is an 8x8 card blank, to give me the perfect base, just like that. And that way we're not wasting all of that in there as being cut out. So we then need to place, and what I would do is use spray glue and glue that down onto there. We simply then take the square die from the center and we drop that back in and run the whole piece through our die cutting machine, and that will then give us this perfect frame here. So we have the frame flat on this base here, and I've added 2 layers of foam tape onto this, and I've simply embossed a piece of the coconut white card again in the Infinity embossing folder because it's a beautiful sort of tartan colour. So we will glue that together, pop all of that onto our card blank, and here we have our finished card blank. I'm going to move those to one side as I've got a set here made in the right colour, because this one I've used the new gold. Simply then cut out the central die from the Sam's Holly frame in white, and I've stamped and heat embossed a sentiment in gold on here. I'm going to add a little bit of foam tape onto the back and frame that perfectly in there. So we have that inset as the frame has been done with 2 layers. And it's just a case then of decorating with our foliage and flowers that we've made. So I'm going to take the large pieces, so make sure that you glue on the base and then just put a few little dots around. And obviously we have going to the left, and give that a couple of seconds to glue. Take the other large piece, which obviously goes to the right, and again glue on the base and on these little pieces there, and we can mirror those exactly. You see it gives us the perfect sort of circular sweep. We do exactly the same with the smaller pieces, which are at, and I'm going to do those at the top, and I'm making sure they come out to the frame, which is why I've cut them in mirror card against the satin frame. You may need to hold it for a couple of minutes. It's only something like a 10-second hold, something like that. And then place our second one on. And you see they match exactly in the base, so it's very easy to work out where to pop them. Again. And I'm going to take then the large triple pointed star flower that I made, or frost ice flower. I'm terrible at naming my dies, honestly. I couldn't, this wanted to call the star flower but couldn't because we'd already done a die called the star flower. And then our 3, I'm going to put a little collection just here around this larger one, almost filling in the section of the frame. And again, they will take a couple of minutes to grab, but very simply just using a satin and a gloss card and a little bit of coconut white, we have those beautiful, almost like fireworks shooting out from each side and really highlighting that sentiment and all those layers. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John next door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook. Enjoy.